You ready?
Let's hit it.
Let's do it.
Recording.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
Woo!
And I go by DJ Swirl.
Chocolate and vanilla swirl.
And before we get started, I'd love to give a shout out to Royalty Nutrition. To help me out with that, as always, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty Nutrition is a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically go to use the cheapest ingredients possible while making their supplements for you. Check them out. Use the discount code 37HAKE to save you 15% on your entire order. My next shout out of the evening will be to Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with a Z.com. They are a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Check them out. Use the discount code Jake15 to save you 15% on that order as well. My last shout out of the evening will be to me. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Check out patreon.com/HakeJoward. You'll get to see my training logs, blog posts, rants about things, and a solo show called Hake Rants, which is a solo podcast that I go and I speak on a single subject for 10 to 15 minutes. Check that out and support your boy, DJ Swirl. Tell him about that buy-to-buy empire.
They say teamwork makes the dream work, but what about the nightmare? From your landlord to your dashboard, sometimes life don't play fair. If you lack time, got a bad spine, we're here to support you, giving peace of mind from the time you buy until we say goodbye. 602-345-0472 buy. 602-345-0472 buy.
That's right. Fast, friendly, on-demand moving, delivery, staging, TV mounting, and assembly. We are buy to buy. When it comes to the business of rather notonomics, would you rather do it yourself and invest your time, effort, and attention, or would you just simply give us money and tell us do it? That's basically what buy to buy is. What you were seeing here is buy to buy studios. We are high quality, low stress, remote controlled. We help you elevate your presence online from the simple stuff, posts, reels, and stories, all the way to this. What you see here, full-fledged live streaming. Yes, buy to buy studios. You can reach us everywhere you are at buytobuy.com/studios. Jake, what are we talking about tonight?
I want to talk about the spaghetti sauce incident. So, we've the way life's working, we've been taking a week on and off in between recording and doing the show. So, a couple weeks ago, I was at the Humble gig and pulling stuff off of the backstock shelves to get ready to go out on the floor. And I'm up on top of this ladder cart. And I'm moving heavy boxes around to get to a certain thing. And the box I grab is heavy as shit. And it's a bunch of spaghetti sauce. And as I'm moving it, it slips out of my hands and drops all over the floor. Glass shatters, sauce everywhere. So I go and I grab a big dustpan. I scoop up the box and stuff. And then I go set that on the scan this out and throw it away cart. I go get a mop. I fucking mop everything up, get all the glass up that I can, finish my my task. I spend the whole rest of the shift working this, standard 8-hour shift with a hour-long lunch break in the middle. And at the end of the night, the boss says, "Hey, you broke this. Throw it in the trash compactor." And I said, "Okay." So I get up on it, and I'm trying to like hug this without hugging it too hard because I'll get spaghetti sauce all over me. And so I have it like cradled like a like carrying a football kind of, but it's a big box. And I'm walking it, and I'm walking, and I walk it to the mouth of the compactor. I go to set it up on the lip of the thing so I can just push it down this chute. And my God, this box disintegrates right as I pick it up. And again, glass and spaghetti sauce everywhere, except this time it's all down my pants, it's on my shoes, it's all over the wall, it's all over the floor. And the worst part about this was my team boss was standing there, and then the boss that oversees everyone was standing behind him.
Jeez.
It's okay. She got a picture of it. And so I get that scooped up and cleaned up, and you know yeah. So I was covered in sauce.
So do you normally bring extra clothes to work?
No, no, I
Okay.
do not.
So how does that
I
work
do not.
with your like you're not what's your drive time like to work?
Half hour, 45 minutes, depending on traffic.
Oh, okay. And so after you spill spaghetti all over yourself, sauce all over yourself, you clean up
Yeah.
as best as you whatever that means. And then
Hmm.
you're sitting there looking like the Kool-Aid man doing what?
Just pissed. Just pissed. I mean,
Oh man.
looking back on it, it's like if I was someone else who saw that, that's the funniest thing I've seen. Especially
No,
knowing that I broke the same box of spaghetti sauce twice in the same shift.
in the
You know what I
same
mean?
shift, no
That's
doubt.
that's that's hilarious.
So who do you have to bargain with to get the video for that so we can put that on AFE?
Oh, you know what? I could probably talk to Brad or Jimmy, and we can. I can see. I'll see what I can do.
Because I mean, aside from we talked about me crashing and burning on a scooter when I first started my side gig, and the road rash that I got as a result of it. Like it knocked the wind out of me. I I was messed up, and then I had to ride who I scoot. I had to scoot back to my truck just to start to get washed up. I had gravel in my arm for like 15 minutes, and so I know that video is floating around there somewhere, whether it's on the dark web or someone's actually cropped it and made it into a funny thing. But if I had access to that, it would make the show. I would at least get a T-shirt. But
Oh
uh,
yeah,
I think this deserves that as well. Uh,
I completely agree.
and you said that there was somebody on staff that had a nickname as a result of doing the same thing.
Okay, it was so at the end of the night after everything is done and ready to go, we pull stuff out so the next shift can take over and put it up.
Yep.
Um, about 4 months before this, there was a young man named Chris who was pulling a pallet out, and it's his first time ever pulling a pallet out on the floor.
Oh,
And so you have to really before you really have to look at your pallet and see what it is and see where stuff's loose, so you know how fast you can pull, how fast you can turn. It's something you learn, right? And he obviously didn't inspect his stacked pallet too well.
right.
So as he was pulling stuff out on the floor, a box collapses on the pallet, and there was a bunch of spaghetti sauce on top of this pallet, and it fell off and crashed all over the floor. Of course, I'm walking right behind him, and this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So from then on out, I just called him Spaghetti Chris.
Oof.
He's been Spaghetti Chris since then. All the other guys call him Spaghetti Chris. There's two Chris's. There's young Chris who's a senior in high school, and then there's Spaghetti Chris. So you have to differentiate.
Sure.
And man, man, oh man, did I get karma come back on me for the Spaghetti Chris nickname?
So was Spaghetti Chris present?
No, he wasn't there. I told
Okay.
him. I told him the next day. I said,
And
"Hey,
well,
man, just so you know,
so are you now Spaghetti Jake?
no, he's still Spaghetti Chris
He's still
because I got."
Spaghetti. Well, that's cool. You got that working relationship. Uh,
Yeah,
how long into knowing him did you make that distinction? Did you give him that nickname? You said
it was
first
right at
his first shift.
well, the first time. It wasn't his first shift, but like it was like the first time he pulled something out on the floor and it broke like that,
Yeah.
and so this fits.
I mean, so when you talked about trying to put the box into the compactor, it makes me think of like those powerlifting competitions where they have those giant balls and they lift them up. It feels like that's the same kind of technique that you would use to get that up there. So is that something you need to add to your training regimen now?
Yeah, and just do the stone lifts.
Yeah, get that extra lift. I'm
No.
just thinking like because I need to start doing some kind of strength training for basketball because my body is finito when I'm done playing, man. And we've been short staffed pretty much. We've been undermanned most games that I've played. I think that the most that I played with there was 9 guys on this, so we had bench, right? The last 3 games we've had at most 7 people, and of those 7, one of them wasn't supposed to play. They just filled in because we had no depth. So I'm still running. These are 20-minute halves, man. I'm playing a solid 30 minutes in these games. So, and with these games being at 9 o'clock and I'm waking up at 4 in the morning, like I need to target some things, so that way,
Hmm.
I at least build up some protection around it because I showed you the gash I have from just playing with my dog. I
Hmm.
had the post from last Thursday was my elbow because it got cut and I had blood on my elbow and I didn't know until the end of the game, and it was I look like I'm complaining about not getting fouls and I have a bloody elbow. It's like that doesn't just happen. So, but yeah, in terms of the stone lifting, like I haven't done anything yet this season to like seriously hurt myself, but like popping my hamstring last season definitely could have, prevented that with some lifting. But um like I said, we discussed before this, I've been posting my basketball videos. And so,
Hmm.
at this point, if you don't post it, it doesn't happen. So I'm critical of people like LeBron and just people that are just in the lexicon. Um, just based off of my experience, and I've seen enough quality basketball to know what it looks like. And I've been decent at some point. I was decent at one point in my life. So it's not that I can't. It's just that I don't. And so this is where I do. And so I've been showing it, and it's funny because people have been reacting to it outside of just the engagement online. When I see people in face to face, they're like, "Oh, so you like playing basketball, huh?" uh,
Yes.
yeah, I made a couple videos, and so um, actually the originator of our group, KJ Hoffman, with Premier Home Loans, he's I think 2 inches taller than me, and he's recently engaged, getting married at the end of this year, and so he's like talking about how he needs to get back in shape, and he's like, I saw you posting your videos, man. I love them. He said, he goes, I used to play ball. He's like, if you ever want to go up, I was like, I've got in a 35 plus league. You want to start running? He goes, it's a good way to get in shape. So, just by posting my videos, I'm getting an additional icebreaker, if anything, to just have another conversation with people. And so, hopefully, me and KJ will be able to add value to our team, and because we're both kind of built the same way, and so
Yeah.
he's like I'm a tall shooter, and so people always put me down low and box and put me on the box. I was like, hate that shit. So we have the same kind of. So if we're subbing for one another, especially like I might have found a sub literally for my squad. And so when I sit down or when we're both not on the floor, we have that element at all times. And so it's just cool to be able to have that conversation. But like I said, I'm just trying to bring some level of swollenness to this show because as someone not being in fitness professionally or having aspirations like that. It's I just want to bring the balance.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to. I've had to take another week off, man.
Yeah.
It's it's just I think it's just because the weather's changing, and that's gonna be it is what it is until death happens. But man, my back has been just screwy, just freaking pain shooting up in it, and like I'm living off 1,600 milligrams of ibuprofen twice a day, and
Twice a day, dog?
uh-huh.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound healthy.
Well, it's once in the morning. I'm drinking lots of water. I'm still eating, clean for the most part. Then at about 3 or 4, I'll do it again, and that'll carry me through the.
You remind me of those commercials, those Advil commercials where they'd be like, you can either take 4 of these or you can take one of these. You're that guy?
Yeah,
You've reached that
but
point?
but the clinical dose that elicits the anti-inflammation spot reaction of Motrin, ibuprofen, is 1,600 milligrams.
So it's simply more.
It's just so that's 8 pills.
Got you.
I do that
So,
twice.
and how long have you been doing that?
About a week.
Oh, so it's not something you do all of the time.
No,
Just
no, 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 no,
currently.
no, no.
So
That's
what?
that's how you make your liver fall out your asshole, man. That's
Yeah.
that.
Okay. No, no, no. I'm just
Uh,
trying to establish some barometers here, or
no,
some
I'm just trying to
expectations
keep
here.
the inflammation low. I'm wearing my back brace at work.
Is this stemming from
'Cause-
your previous injury?
yes,
Okay.
definitely.
So it's just flaring up.
Yeah, this has to be related to that car wreck, man.
Got you.
So, and it's not like, and even out here in the gym, I'm always wearing my belt. If
Yeah.
I if I'm doing any body movement over 135 pounds, the belt's on. Period.
Nice.
I don't. What about bracing your core? No, suck it. Like that. Like, sure, I could still deadlift and squat 315 beltless, but why? Like, what? I'm not.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I was just
So,
thinking, like, I wear my back brace during doing the scooter, swapping batteries, and so on Monday I serviced 90 plus units. So 67 of those were swaps. So just double that number. So I touched at least 125 batteries. That means that I deadlifted them or picked them up at least to my waist and then probably up to my chest in order to get it into the container and then up and around and inside, so like the the striations on my wrist right now, it's like Popeye level. Like I don't get it. But I know that it's from those because those things weigh 14 pounds each. So just think 120 just touches. Then I had to exchange those dead batteries for fresh ones. And so I left with another 70 plus fresh ones, which means I had to take out those 90 that I took care of or those 70 that I took care of. So so again, you're doubling math. So like in terms of reps, bro, like 14 pounds 400 times. I just did the math. I'm like, okay, that's why you're so fucking tired, man. It's because that's a lot. And I'm 40. And that's not including the steps I'm taking to the scooters, back to the vehicle. If I'm oh, and I was riding a scooter the whole time. That's why I'm burning 12, 1,500 calories a morning. Like I don't know what that means in terms of training, in terms of weight training and targeting and specifics like that, but it feels pretty. I don't want to say it's high level, but it doesn't feel lazy. I know that much. So, um, and then my bike trailer malfunctioned, and so the arm that extends out, it basically just bent, and so I was on Second in Washington going over or going, um, and I didn't even go over the curb, like I went on the access point, and it just starts dragging, sparks start flying. I'm like, awesome. There's 15 batteries in the back, 15 times 14 pound wise, so I've got to lift that up and make it work. And Luckily, my truck was the next block over, so I didn't have to go far. But I'm scraping and making noise at 5 o'clock in the morning downtown Phoenix. So I've got to get that repaired. So that's, we're talking about all the ouches and all the accidents we've been doing and taking. Um, did I mention my daughter on here already?
You have not.
Okay, because I know that we spoke on this before, and it's only been 20 minutes, but when we get going, time starts flying.
Yes, it do.
So we were just kind of set this up, and Jake was telling us he was writing out his explanation for what happened with the spaghetti sauce incident, and so I just started thinking about like all of the accidents and the unnecessary injuries we take on, and so tonight we watched the finale of a game show called The Floor. Um, And a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that this woman, based off of her position on the game, that she had a good chance of going to the end because no one had challenged her. Long story short, she wound up making to the end, and I made a side bet with my daughter because, I grew up watching Wheel of Fortune, and my dad would bet us Dairy Queen if we could solve more puzzles than him. And I was overweight as a middle schooler for a reason. And so we're playing this game, but she wanted ice cream. She always wants ice cream. I want ice cream, but I was like, if the woman that I picked makes it and then wins, we do not get ice cream. But if anyone that you choose, they win, we get ice cream. So she gets excited, goes to the end. The woman I pick is there, and my daughter just gets super pumped up for it, and she's like excited for the show to start, gets anxious, and she starts like shaking her body around and just being silly. But she is laying on her back and she kicks her leg up too far, and her knee pops herself in the face. So she starts crying. And so we can't even watch the end of the show because she's crying, and, she needs consoling. And so we take a moment and we talk about it, and we watch the rest of the show, and the woman I pick wins. So double whammy. My daughter kneed herself in the face, and then she didn't get ice cream, and so she starts crying again. So we start talking about it, and and then I explained to her because they show commercials during the show or in between, and so gambling, FanDuel or whatever comes up pretty often, and so I mentioned, if you would have lost in the scenario because you didn't get your ice cream, but you made a bet. That's how gambling works. You're asking questions about it. So here's an example. And so I give her the spiel, and so she gets it. And I said, so what I'll do then, since the prize was technically ice cream, you'll still get to have ice cream tonight if you pay for it out of your piggy bank. So she gets excited immediately, runs into her room, comes back with money. And while she's gone, I start thinking about it. And I'm like, man, when you pop yourself in the face, you tend to get a black eye. And so when she gets back, she's putting her shoes on and we're getting ready. And I said, now make sure you keep that ice because we have a little ice pack, and I kind of put it on her face. And she keeps taking it off. And I was like, just know that when you hit yourself in the nose, sometimes it makes your eyes black. So you might go to school with a black eye tomorrow. And so she puts her head down. She starts crying again. I'm like, we're going to get ice cream. Like, you cannot keep being sad about this. And so then I, drew up like we acted out a scene. And so I just said, look, you can either be embarrassed about it or you can own it. And so I said, here's what owning it looks like. And so I took a little, I think I was putting away the beans or something. And so I had the lid for the container. I just put it over my face and I walked down the corner. And I came back and I was looking at her, and she was like, I said, you play your friend, I'll play you. So she's like, what's wrong? I was like, nothing. And so we just, acted out this scene. And I'm just like, I said, so if I was embarrassed, which you can still feel embarrassed, you should, but just talk your way out of it. Just let them know what happened, and you're learning from it, right? And so she gets it and she's smiling, and I was like, oh, don't smile too hard. I don't want your nose to crinkle, and then it hurt again. And so she smiles big, and then she holds her face. So, just trying to make a positive light on it. And then we went to the store and got ice cream, and she got that and went to bed. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's a W. But my, my wife failed dinner wise because the girls would not eat the enchilada she made. And, she purposely picked something that's like an alternative so it's not as unhealthy or whatever the case. And so my daughters immediately pinpoint what's wrong with it because it tastes different or the texture's different. And so
Mhm.
You know, those joys of parenting where you spend money on food and then they have to throw it away. So
Yep.
all
Yep.
around losses all around, even with the wins.
Yeah, the girls are on some bullshit where they're not eating anything unless it's like chicken nuggets, which is exciting.
Yep.
Chicken nuggets or something from the pantry.
Well, only good stuff comes from the pantry.
Dude, yeah, that's where all the snacks are.
Yeah.
But Marley will tell me, he's like, "Daddy, I'm hungry. I'm so hungry." I'll say, "Well, what do you want to eat?" I don't know. So, well, you gotta tell me what you want. Something from the pantry. What do you want from the pantry? Chips? No. Cheez-Its? No. Applesauce. I guess I can get you an applesauce. But like, it used to, like, when she was like first getting her teeth and stuff and starting to eat, we were so excited because she just like was like whatever, just ate, right? But now it's like she won't eat ground beef, she won't eat eggs, she won't eat like she
Yep.
won't eat chicken unless it's a nugget. Like
All the
she won't eat a
standard
hot dog.
stuff that we've been
Oh, dude.
conditioned to just eat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then Ruthie is entering a low key diva era.
What does that mean? What is low key diva? Lo-fi diva? Like
Like it's not.
like she's not loud about it. She's
It's yeah. I don't eat that.
ooh, sassy diva.
Yeah, but it's not like I said. But yeah, you ate this, last week. Yeah, but that was so many days ago. I don't eat this now.
She's past it.
And I go, yeah, you do. But yeah, that's these girls. Hopefully, young Christopher doesn't take on these traits too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Pick right up off of what they're doing.
He's at the age where he likes just throwing food on the floor. Not because he doesn't want it, because he thinks it's hilarious.
And he
And
probably definitely
then,
gets a reaction.
oh yeah, but
Yep.
then when Loki is inside, that's Loki and him. They're best buddies. Like
Yeah.
just that dog. He's getting too spoiled. Won't eat the dog food.
Better figure that out.
He just well, he's a cat. Little dogs aren't dogs; they're cats.
That's worse.
Let's like I've never understood. I don't understand the appeal of owning a cat. Like I understand, I have dogs. They poop and pee outside. About once a week, I go up and I scoop up poop and whatever. But like a cat litter box, if you're not on top of that, like every other day, your house smells like piss and shit. And like when it comes to them eating, they're very, very picky. And their favorite food that they love for years, all of a sudden they hate it, and like they won't eat, and they'd rather starve than eat. So you have to go find a new cat food that they'll like, and
I think I mean, cats specifically are like people who have cats and people who love cats and people who make cats their life. They, it is them conveying how they want to be treated. Does that make sense?
Well, let me offer a casual observation from someone who at least once a week is in a pet centric area, putting pet food and things away.
Okay.
You can tell the difference between people who just have dogs, people who have cats and dogs, and strictly cat people.
Okay.
And strictly cat people tend to be more socially awkward, usually have an odor about them, and don't necessarily respond to social normative anything.
Okay. And how does that differ from cat and dog people?
That's just cat people. Cat and dog people are like, yeah, I have a cat, but it's not my entire personality. And then dog people are like, I made my dog like these treats. There's the same food we've been getting for the last 112 years. All right.
So it's low maintenance.
Yes.
So I think that it's just high maintenance on the middle, on both ends. So only cat, only dog, the maintenance level goes way up. I think it goes higher for cat people than it does for dog people. But yes, in the middle, they're the same animal. You treat them the same because you can't have favorite kids. Why would you trade your pet? Why would you treat your pets differently? You have to love them for how they are,
It's true.
and that's
But
whether
I would
you're
say,
those kind of cats that like dogs and gets along with them, or those cats that don't fuck with dogs. And so there's people who have cats and dogs, and those two animals do not mess with each other.
I don't know, man. I think I have a favorite pet.
You probably have a favorite kid then.
No,
Why is it?
no,
Why
but
why would you have a favorite pet and not a favorite kid?
because my ducks rule.
Because they're simple. Because they're low maintenance, right?
Well, no, the one duck, Tomasita, has like human eyes. She's a giant Pekin duck. She's cool. You'll have to come over. I'll catch her for you. No, I'll bring her in. But she's cool. And it's like when she looks at you, she looks at you, and you're like, nice. I understand. Like that's my
Sounds
that's my that's,
sounds like a cat person, bro.
nah, that's my buddy.
But yeah,
I don't know.
working for Rent a
There's a couple of
Center.
the chickens. I'm sorry.
No, but working for Rent a Center, what you're talking about, awkward personalities and the odor, check and check. Like I have experienced that for sure. I've experienced it to the point that not only did I need a mask, and this is pre-pandemic, all of that stuff. So masks weren't like you didn't care or you didn't bring it as a normal thing, but like to where I held my breath before I went into a certain room and then came out like carrying furniture because the ammonia smell is so thick, and then like your eyes, you feel it feels scratchy because it's so thick. Yeah, like so. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that example for sure.
My I have a friend who I won't name drop because he is no longer just a strictly cat person. He's come out of that. When he was just a strictly cat guy, he was way more weird.
But why though?
I don't
What
know.
is it? So does that mean
I
that
have,
cats are toxic? Like, what are we talking about here?
well, like you get what's it called? It's toxoplasmosis. You're more likely to have toxoplasmosis if you have a cat.
What does that mean?
It's I don't know if it's a parasite or a virus. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's usually something that people get when they are around cats more often than
Okay.
others. I'll have to look. I'll have to look it up. So I mean, I know if someone sees this, they're going to be like, "Man," but like, no, that it's a thing.
I mean,
And the chick, it,
I see those fancy is it fancy feasts? Whatever those whatever they have to whatever the most elegant way to feed a cat is. When I see those things, it makes me laugh out loud. That's a reality for somebody, and like for an Instagram cat out there somewhere that they are served like we are at restaurants.
mhm.
That blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Not me.
I don't want to be. I don't know what's going to come with that, but something tells me that that level of entitlement is not good for me. To where you've got the time, energy, and attention to also the money to spend on a cat like that. Not
No,
me. Not I.
no, sir.
Not I, says this guy.
Yeah, that's
But dogs, like, don't feed your dog like that either. I don't want to shit on cat people, but I'm not a cat person. But like, I have a friend who will remain unnamed who takes their dog to Dutch Brothers, Starbucks, all these places and gets them their doggy treats and has a routine and does it with frequency, and it is a it is a part of their character. Like if they're on a game show and they say, "Tell us about yourself," they're mentioning the dog, right? Like,
mhm.
yep. So
Nope.
good for them. No judgment. It's just not me. I cannot see myself doing that.
No, the closest thing I had to that was when Cleo was alive, my basset hound,
Yeah.
because that dog and I had been through some real shit together.
Are there? I mean, because you've seen those movies, like they make movies of like like a Turner and Hooch, to where it's like that dog. If you meet, because how can you be that tight with a pet and a person?
Right.
Like that level of attachment, I can see with another human, someone you find, however, whatever you're choosing, whatever you
Hmm.
find attractive. Like I get that, but with a animal, it's no, can't do it. Not in this lifetime. Not under these circumstances.
No, no, sir.
So, like, imagine meeting someone. Imagine being a single parent. Dating scene is hard, right? And then you meet somebody, you go on a date, you click, you guys connect, and then you meet their kid, because you don't necessarily meet them immediately or soon, but like, you know that they have a child and they know that you have a pet. And then those two worlds collide. Can you imagine finding your soulmate online and then your pet comes in between you? Not your child, your animal. That makes me laugh. That's somebody's reality.
Yep.
But I'm
That's
guessing that they peel open their cat food very carefully and they prepare it on a special plate and they serve it to them like a person. I assume that that's part of the deal.
well, I mean, like Cleo slept in my bed her whole life, but um, Brit is not about that life, so she didn't anymore. Spoiled ass Loki does though, because he doesn't. Well, Loki doesn't get in the way.
I get
Loki,
it. I get it.
yeah, Loki gets in between my legs and doesn't move. Cleo is like, I don't like you touching my dad. Move, bitch.
We do not allow our dog on our bed. It's the one place. The couches he's up
Giving
there.
up on.
Like I would prefer not, just because he goes outside like that. But you know, we have we have children, so there's going to be uncleanliness anyway. But yeah, the bed, no, we don't do that. So
So I remember Britt was when she got Ginger. She's like, she's not allowed on the couch, and I was like, sure.
yep.
Like, I've grown up. I've grown up with all the dogs. Sure.
Anything else you want to speak on this evening?
Oh, I had another former athlete hit me up the other day talking about wanting to get back in the game,
Nice.
and so I'm very excited about that. Um, the hens out in Florence are dropping eggs like it's nobody's business. We're talking like almost it's 20, about 20 eggs a day.
Nice.
It's wild.
You guys are set.
Yeah. And then out here, we're pulling 8 to 9, counting the duck egg.
Yep. So have you found a couple few people to hit you up for eggs regularly?
I do. I have the one cat for sure at the preschool. Oh, come to find out that he is also a Marine.
Where we at? Where we at?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, I mean, that's rad.
I mean, that's I see business owners that do, veteran owned and all that stuff. You're a veteran owned egg distributor, right?
That's me.
Use it, man. Isn't that what your service member discount is supposed to do for you? Give you some kind of kickback at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look. I'll have to look into what everything entails. But
No, no. I know you don't. You're not trying to like business it out, but I'm
I,
glad.
I would. Well, see, I would love to business it out, but I don't think it'd be sustainable at this moment.
Yeah.
Like the the loss to profit ratio right now is way too high to even justify the fees just to get the paperwork filed.
Yep.
So
That makes sense.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Oh. Did you have an opinion on the what is it called? The self emulation? Is that what it's called?
I think
Like, what have you seen aside from the
I,
video, aside from him, your response to the community?
I think it's a valid form of protest. Um, I think it sucks that this airman felt the need to set himself on fire and die to raise awareness for something that we should all be behind. And I think one of the hardest lines in this only narrative driven world that we live in is you can be anti-Israel, killing a bunch of kids, and not hate Jews. You know what I mean? I think that's something that I think that believing that you are against child genocide equates to anti-Semitism is about as
Control.
dumb as trying to fix a rocket with a rock. Um,
I've just seen. I'm starting to now see service members calling out other service members for not speaking out, for not standing up for him, because all accounts from people who were close to him are that he was a good person, that he was a well-to-do person, that he was a positive person in these people's life, dealing with the struggles of his occupation. And so, um, I think, like you said, it's a valid form of protest, and it's a sad situation that it had to come to that. But I'm equally disturbed by service members asking in a crowded place, why aren't people speaking about it, or why is the narrative he was mentally ill, and then them getting kicked out of these spaces, which is akin to all of these rallies that we see during election time, to where they don't want to have to deal with the tough questions, and there's no tougher question than that right now. This you're everybody's also always thank you for your service. This person set themselves on fire in front of the Israel establishment on U.S. soil, and they won't even say his name. They won't even acknowledge it, and then when they do, they use counter narratives in order to sully his name.
mhm.
So,
I
and on
think one
top
of
of
the
that, the police officer who tried to shoot him, or
yeah, what the fuck was that?
who was posted up like he was gonna gun down a guy who set himself on fire.
I think one of the best things that is happening, like I all right. So speaking as a veteran, I am very pro having a strong defense force that is capable of offense, capable of great offense. I think that one of the best things that is happening in today's military, though, is that lower ranking, lower enlisted people are coming to grips with wanting to conscientiously object to dying for someone else's war that has nothing to do with the United States. So the problem with the Israel v. Palestine is the United States has subsidized Israel so much that we've made it our problem. And it's going to get to a point where Yemen's tired of Israel bombing them. Jordan's tired of Israel bombing them. Fucking Lebanon is tired of Israel bombing them. And one day, at least those three are going to be like, I think we should all put our shit aside for just a second. And then they're going to do Book of Revelation shit and go into Israel and fuck shit up.
That's if they go into Israel,
They,
because who's supplying all the weaponry.
us.
So who's to say that they're not that who's to say that the younger generation is not currently concocting the next 9/11?
Well, see, that's the whole. That's that too. That goes back to Ron Paul talking about CIA blowback. I mean, you can go find that speech on YouTube. I'm not even going to try and quote it because I'll butcher it. But Ron Paul, probably the most famous libertarian ever to ever work in government, made it very clear and spoke on the United States and it's secret agencies standing certain things up and then pulling support and then funding both sides of the war is what's causing blowback. And then like Rudy Giuliani got all pissed, like, "Are you trying to tell me that the United States is responsible for 9/11?" Yeah, pretty much. Um, pretty much. Like, I don't know if I brought this up, but after the not Al Assad, after the Hezbollah attack, where they came in like James Bond spies and killed a bunch of people and kidnapped folks, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to my grandma, who was, the preacher's wife forever and grew up in a very conservative Christian upbringing. And she was asking me what I felt about it. And I said, I think Israel has it coming. And she said, "Well, Jacob, as Christians, we're charged by God to stand with the Jewish people." And I said, "I understand. And I am not against that. But I also need you to know how a terrorist is made." And she goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, think about it. How is a terrorist made?" She goes, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Okay, let's say you and your friends come into my town. You see my house and you kill everyone in it except me. Or I just got lucky and lived. Am I going to like you?" She said, "No, I don't think so." I said, "No, I wouldn't like you at all. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a bunch of people who you did the exact same thing to, and we're going to get together and we're going to talk about how much we don't like you. And eventually, we'll have enough courage, we'll have enough supplies, and we'll have enough guts, and we're going to find a way to hurt you back. And you're going to call us the terrorist." And she goes, "Oh, I never thought of it like that." I said, "That's exactly what is happening." I think it's in order for um, a Jewish person to take a house, there has to be, um, they kick the family out, and then it's three Jewish people have to stay in that house for 24 hours straight, and then it's their house and property. I think that's okay. So that's something else that happens. There's people just getting their homes and ancestral lands and farms that they've lived on for 5 generations just taken from them like that. On top of now, you have uh, the Israeli government saying, "Oh, we have intelligence that Hezbollah assets are here," and they fucking blow up a refugee site filled with women and children again. Now, how do you make a terrorist? Whose fault is it? And I'm not, and this is not me coming from a place of hate for Judaism or Jewish people. I'm speaking against a government.
It's wild to me to see people like signing the bombs
Yeah.
and then like these men who are collecting lingerie and shoes and accessories from the houses that they bombed and that they murdered these folks and then drove them out. And then they're like, "Oh, I got these shoes for my wife's engagement party." Like, and then they show the similarities between Nazi Germany and that genocide and how starkly similar they are. And like
And
you
if you
spoke on
bring that,
earlier,
and if you
like you
bring
said
that up,
earlier,
oh,
you're anti-Semitic by simply calling it what it is. So, yeah, everything that you're talking about, it's and then imagine, so take all those things and now the young man who set himself on fire was part of that.
Mhm.
He was there. I hear that now there's that he had access to classified information, right? So he's like not only involved, but he's in deep with it. And so you want to talk about the mental turmoil that would do to somebody who otherwise to the people around him is well to do. And that's your job. It's just to and these people aren't even in uniform. These aren't kid soldiers. These aren't women and children in uniforms with weapons. If they are, it's in defense. But you just see, how casually they're just carpet bombing places, how casually they're striking these areas that they are telling them to go to purposely to avoid any conflict. Like how they're desecrating the bodies and, you know, all of these things. And for the idea that they have the audacity to say that you cannot say that, you can't even talk about it, or
Mhm.
you can't attach them to that when they are literally bragging about it on the other side, or they're cutting all communications so that way their devastation doesn't get out. The amount of power and resources that are involved and that are necessary in order to do that, the carnage that comes from that. How do you make a terrorist? To watch these mothers holding their lifeless children's bodies, to watch these fathers crying over, it's incredible that anyone could have the conscience to try and sell a narrative in the opposite direction, then point fingers and call you the bad person for calling them out. So
Mhm.
if that's what your energy is, then why would you feel bad calling a spade a spade? It's not a heart.
Uh,
That's not love.
Yep.
That's a dagger, bro.
Mhm.
So yeah, we are watching in real time and we get it in instant replay, high definition. Like it's not radio, black and white, 2 channel antenna TV, right? Like
Right.
Vietnam. Imagine getting updates on Vietnam or being any of those soldiers and having to come back and deal with that. Like you want to talk about mental illness and creating terrorists and all of these things. Like
Mhm.
how can we consciously play the good guy, pretend to wear the cape when that's what we're
Yep.
doing, and we're doing it because of the monetary gain, because of the control, the power grab.
Yep. But then what's even the monetary gain? It's like
Oh, it's money.
it's potential monetary gain down the road. You know what I
Oh
mean? It's
no,
not
no, no,
even.
no, no. These
Oh, you're talking
stockade,
about the sale. Yeah.
stockade, yeah. Nobody cares about that. Whatever happens at the end happens at the end. Arms sales, they don't care about that. They know what's going to happen, and so they lean into that, and that's where their sales come from. But no, they don't care. That's after the fact, dog. Or they'll book a trip out to Israel and quote unquote see it for themselves. Yeah, dog. Awesome sauce.
I'm just, it blows my mind.
Anything else?
No.
We are at 59 minutes. Oh. Mm.
We did it. We told a funny story and ended on a war's dumb.
Where are we at? There we go.
Yeah.
We did it. Full circle.
It's still sober. Fucking we now nailed it all.
There it is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you and thank you so much for listening to the Sober Swole podcast. Bye.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? pre-workout. He wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go